I used to travel by airplane to stay with my family during summertime. I was never afraid to fly before this happened. Flying alone was common practice, and it sure beat the strenuous 8 to 10 hour car ride it would take to get there. This time my mom and I traveled together. It was one of the most memorable trips because I was a sophomore in high school that loved to skateboard. My cousin shared the same passion, and so did his friends, so it was perfect. I was also getting into cameras, so we filmed almost every moment, just in case hijinks ensued, and they definitely did. After a few weeks of countless adventures, it was time to go home to the small town I grew up in. I was bummed to leave, but missed my own bed, and couldn't wait to show my friends the awesome footage. Before boarding the flight, this beautiful girl was flirting with me, and it seemed like she wanted me to sit with her. I was a little shy at the time, and didn't want to leave my mom by herself. My mom let me get the window seat, and I looked out the window as I watched my unforgettable summer dissipate until I couldn't see any of the houses or trees anymore. I glanced around the cabin, and that girl was smiling at me. I smiled back, knowing I wouldn't get up to sit next to her, but she was a good distraction from those end of summer blues. What happened next was nothing short of fucked up. I turned my attention back out the window, trying to play it cool with that girl. I looked at the stains on the wing of the plane. I wondered if all planes had those same stains. The wings had seen better days, I thought. I looked down at the engine spinning, almost in a daze. Then almost immediately, the engine on the wing stopped. It completely quit spinning, and I asked myself, is it supposed to do that? Before I could point it out to my mom, like a badly made paper airplane, we started to dive. I've experienced turbulence before, but this was insane. The once quiet cabin turned into chaos with ear-piercing screams. I didn't even want to look around at anyone, because I knew if I did, it would make it real. I jammed a finger in each ear to drown out the screams, and tried to stay calm as I lowered my head and closed my eyes. Although I couldn't see anything with my eyes closed, I could hear the sounds of luggage spilling out onto people's heads, laps, and the rows in between. Someone must have snuck in a bottle of wine or liquor, because I felt a huge bottle hit the back of my ankle, causing searing pain. Then, like a semi-truck with its brakes cut out, the rising sound of the food cart flew past the aisle, hitting multiple arms as it went by. Not sure if one of them was a baby, but I certainly heard a thud, and a baby cry immediately after. Candy or food rolled around on the ground beneath my feet, as I could see through my barely closed eyelids, shielding me from anything else. This went on for way too long, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one that thought this was the last flight I'd be on. The summer of a lifetime had turned into a wide-awake nightmare at 31,000 feet. If I had to describe the feeling, it was like the fastest drop on a roller coaster times 100. It felt like each second we were dropping 1,000 feet. I tried to keep positive thoughts with the hope that this wouldn't be the end, but the screams of each passenger, having their lives flash before their eyes, was enough to feel world-shattering. My heart was beating faster and faster as the 747 fell quicker and quicker. The beeping of the alarm system inside the cabin almost in sync with my own heartbeat. The G-forces were stronger than anything I've ever felt or any human should ever feel. This couldn't be the end. I was far too young, I thought selfishly. With each thought, it seemed like the emergency beeping of the plane and my heartbeat grew louder as we continued to drop. 30,000 feet. Find myself. 29,000 feet. Enjoy more time with family and friends. 28,000 feet. Get into more teenage mischief. 27,000 feet. Skateboard. 26,000 feet. Graduate from high school and go to college. 25,000 feet. Grow my hair longer than I should. 24,000 feet. Fall in love. 23,000 feet. Create art. I had this eerie sense of calmness take over me, like a warm blanket on a cold winter night. Was this the feeling of the angel of death taking over? Suddenly the unthinkable happened. That roller coaster and stomach-turning feeling began to dissipate. The once panicked screams grew silent, as if for that moment, everyone forgot how to speak. It was beyond quiet, the kind of quiet that makes you forget to breathe. I slowly raised my head up and looked around. Everyone was facing forward, as still as mannequins. It was as if no one knew what to do or say. I wondered if maybe this was the afterlife. Did that really just happen? Is it going to happen again? Was this some premonition like in Final Destination? Maybe I imagined the whole thing. I finally looked back towards the engine, and it was spinning, as if nothing had happened. I exchanged glances with my mom, but no words could escape our mouths. Nothing worth saying, at least. Then when everyone needed it most, someone rose near us, shouted, "Y'all just got punked!" Everyone started to smile and laugh. It was the perfect tension breaker. I realized this really did happen, and by some miracle, we had made it out somehow. I'd say the rest of the flight was relatively smooth, but that was far from the truth. Each second was like an anxiety-filled hour, as the ground could not come close enough. I felt the urge to pee, but I was so traumatized that I felt glued to my seat. I couldn't move as my body and mind had a delayed response to what just happened. After hearing a familiar loud sound, I looked back out the window and saw the ground getting closer and closer. It was happening again. This was surely the end this time, I thought, until I heard the screech of the tires touch the airport landing strip. We had made it. Touching back down to earth was like the best wish fulfilled that I never knew I needed. I couldn't wait to get off the airplane, and apparently neither could anyone else, as we exited the plane in anything but a structured manner. I spoke with that beautiful girl briefly at the baggage claim, and although we never saw each other again, I was just thankful. Thankful to have gotten out of that death trap all in one piece. Thankful that her, my mom, and everyone else on board made it to our destination. Maybe I would have ran into that girl again on my next flight, but I'll never know, because I haven't flown since that flight my sophomore year. Sometimes when I'm falling asleep, I can hear the sound the plane made when it was going down, and the screams from everyone on board. Submit your stories to eeriefiles.submit@gmail.com. Maybe next time, the story will be yours. Like and subscribe, and follow us for more.